I was really apprehensive, and I was actually really unsure of what to talk about in terms of feeling empowered, because I haven't really felt empowered that much for the past few years, and actually really for a long time. I've had successes in certain ways, and I've also had challenges, but there's never been a sense of like, yes, I'm like so empowered right now. There's always this nagging feeling of I'm not good enough, and I've got so much work to do on myself, which this is actually the reason why I feel empowered today, is because I was in a really long and difficult relationship from a really young age. So I was with a guy from the age of 14 on and off till about the age of 20, 21. And it was really difficult. It's not something that a lot of young teenagers go through. The guy that I was with, he had a lot of inner demons, and his brothers had basically a massive war injury where he lost his leg. And so I was dealing with the grief that my partner at the time was having. And, we were teenagers, he didn't know how to deal with it, so he acted out in ways, and because I was the closest person to him, it was me that would get the backlash of that. Because I was young and love and, just wanted this person to love me, I gave so much of myself to him, and, was just hurt by all the nasty things that would come out of his hurt. And, I'm 28 now, and I realise that I'm still carrying so much of the hurt that I had from that relationship. And I didn't realise that I was still carrying it to the degree that I have been until I became in a new relationship, which is actually the first relationship I've been in since, well, the first proper relationship that I've been in since that person. So it was covered by not being with someone. All those, little insecurities, big insecurities and worries and anxieties were shadowed by, not being in a relationship, because there wasn't anyone else to reflect that back to me. So the reason I feel empowered today is because yesterday I actually emailed that original person I was with and basically said, look, I know that I've put most of the blame, or pretty much all the blame, for that relationship being the way that it was onto you. And, what's your perspective? Where did I go wrong? Because in my newest relationship, it's reflecting back to me that actually I project so much. I'm very much in my head, and I expect a lot, and then I live in that reality, and when I don't get it back, it creates arguments, but it's in such a way that I always feel like it's the other person. So that's been reflected back to me, and it's something I've had to look at. So knowing that new information, I thought, maybe that was applied to the relationship that I was in when I was younger. So anyway, I asked the guy, and the original guy, and was just like, look, what was your perspective on how I was in that relationship? And he basically came back and gave a really raw, honest response, and just said, look, Alice, you did create a lot of expectations, and although we were both young, like, it wasn't completely me, you were also creating a lot of the tension. And it humbled me, because I had to step back and really be like, wow, all these years I've carried this weight that I had this really horrible person in my life who made me feel like shit, when actually it was also me that was creating that. And the reason that's empowering is because I was able to step out of myself and really look at the other person and hear what they had to say, and really take that on instead of deflect it as, oh no, you're wrong. And not to say he was perfect. There were some things he did that, regardless of what happened to him, shouldn't have happened. But I also am very much in a lot of illusions about things. So it was empowering to be able to see what someone else had to say, because I feel like, and this is just a human thing, we always are going to be more biased towards ourselves because we're us, and we, you know, we're going to think we're right because we're us. So it was the humbling experience of that is what has empowered me to move forward and, you know, not think that I'm always right, because that, I think, has caused me a lot of problems. And it's made me perhaps not listen to people as much as I could do. So through the act of just sending that person a message, removing myself, my ego, whatever you want to call it, and just being like, look, hands up, where the fuck did I go wrong in that? Or where were my downfalls in that? How did I create the badness or the shitty part about that relationship? And yeah, I was told, and it's weirdly empowering. It's made me feel, wow, okay, I can let someone else say what they have to say and take it on, instead of just put the barriers up and just react. I don't know if that is kind of empowering, but I do feel empowered, so maybe that might encourage people to feel empowered in their own ways. I don't know, but that's my story of empowerment. And yeah, it's a different feeling now. So thank you for listening.